Three, two, one, and we are live, everybody. It's Skip Clark, Skip Happens, and welcome to another great episode, along with our very lovely and talented Deb Lamphere of the official Country Music Fan Club, and of course, our special guest tonight. If you had an eye on American Idol season 18, it was until, yeah, exactly. All right, Lauren Mascitti. Did I say that right? Mascitti.
You did perfect.
Yeah. And of course, her better half, Sean Camp, is with us. Sean is a singer-songwriter as well. But Lauren, welcome. Sean, welcome. It's good to see you.
Appreciate it. Skip.
Thank you for having us.
Great to have you both here with us. I'll tell a little bit of a background here. So I was, I think I follow several artists being with the Country Music Fan Club. We love watching the upcoming artists. And somehow you came across my, I have no idea how. And you were doing, I think it was with The Boot, maybe, and you were doing some music there. Both of you were on. And it's just whatever you were singing at that moment, it just struck me, and I listened to the whole show.
Oh, thank you so much.
I was just amazed. I was just absolutely amazed at both of your talents, both of your songs. And I went back to Skip, and I'm like, we have got to have her on the podcast. So welcome so much for being with us tonight.
Well, thank you for having us. And
so we love to introduce new artists to our audience. So you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and Sean and some background?
Well, my name's Lauren Mascitti, and yes, I was on season 18 of American Idol. Well, season 3 since it's been on ABC, but I know it was kind of like a controversial scandal, the whole top 21 situation. You know, I was blessed to make it to the Hawaii episode, top 40, and that's where they kind of whittle it down to from 40 to 20, and so the cliffhanger of the episode was me and the other country girl, Grace. They pitted us against each other, and we were vying for America's vote, and I did not get the vote, but I know it kind of made a lot of people like a little bit like, well, you know, why couldn't they have 2 country girls in the top 20, or, you know, so it was kind of a thing, but, you know, I just feel like God, you know, has my path all set, and I mean, you can't argue with God. Whatever happened was His will, and you know, I feel very blessed to have gotten that far, and He's opening so many doors right now, and so I'm just really excited for the future.
You've been singing your whole life, from what I've read, and you've got like 9 albums under your belt.
Yeah. So my upbringing, I was born and raised in Louisville, Ohio. And it's a suburb of Canton, you know, where the Pro Football Hall of Fame is. And I was raised by my grandparents, my Nana and Papaw. And anyway, it was just a huge blessing. I had a great childhood, and I grew up singing in my church, Trinity Gospel Temple, shout out. And and so ever since I was 7 years old, I started taking singing lessons in my church, and Nana started driving me around to all the little churches in the area, and the circle started getting bigger, and anywhere Nana would drive me, I would sing, and so we started cranking out little gospel records from the time I was 8 years old, and everything has always been completely independent. You know, my grandparents funded everything until I got my job. I'm also a registered nurse. My Nana said, we'll move to Nashville with you, but you got to get a degree first. And so went to nursing school in Ohio. After I graduated, I moved down here to Nashville, got my first nursing job. And so that's how I really support myself now. But anyway, it's been a long, fun journey, and we're still at it. So
now you took Nana with you to Hawaii, correct?
I did. Nana and Sean were both with me.
Yeah.
That was Nana's first trip to Hawaii, so it was totally worth it.
I saw it on Idol, and also you and Grace were like BFFs, right? Weren't you guys?
Yeah,
like
we were
friends,
roommates,
room
and
together.
so
Yeah,
it was kind of an awkward situation, you know, being pitted against each other, and so anyway. But as you know, as much trouble as females in country have been, you know, getting radio play, it's like, really? But anyway.
We had a lot of conversation about that, you know, growing the female country music artist numbers there because there's just not enough of them out there. So, but you've got a pot of gold waiting for you on the other side.
Oh, well, thank you. I believe it. I kind of have a saying, you know, my God's hands are the best place for my future to be, and I'm trusting that that's where it is, and I'm not worried about it. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love how grounded you are. You are so not afraid to be out there to express how you truly feel and where you feel with your faith and what your background was in singing, and where your training has come from. Not a lot of people will do that these days. So we need more of that.
You know, someday when I'm standing face to face with him, and, you know, he said, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess that I am the Lord. And you know, I don't want to be one of the people that has to say, you know, I hid my faith, I was ashamed, and you know, I don't want to have to deal with that in front of my Father. So, so anyway,
He leads the
God
way.
be the glory.
So how did you and Sean meet?
Well, not too long after I moved here, a mutual friend of ours. It's actually Chris Stapleton's father-in-law, Daryl
okay.
Hayes,
Yep.
Morgan's dad. He's a good friend of both of ours, and we were writing with him at the time. And Daryl, one day, he asked me, "Well, have you ever heard of a guy named Sean Camp?" And I said, "Well, yeah, you know, I love his music. He's incredible." And he was already one of my favorite singers in town, and so like Daryl's just like, I think you guys could write some really good things together. And
he kept telling me about Lauren, and he kept saying, y'all need to get together and write. I think you'd hit it off, you know, as a songwriting team. You know, so.
And then we fell in love, and here we are.
So there you go.
Is there a date coming up?
Not yet. We haven't set anything, in the whole coronavirus situation. We haven't really been able to do that, but it'll be coming up.
How did you handle quarantine? Did you stay right in Nashville?
Well, we kind of live out a little bit, but I'm also a nurse too, and so, you know, thank God I have a job. So
it's not much different for me. I'm basically a hermit anyway. I stay out in the woods. I'm a real country boy, you know. I'm in the country, and so that's. I got a little farm out in Dixon County, and
Nice.
me and my mom and dad live out there too. I'm from Arkansas, but
if you can tell from the beautiful accent.
but I've been over here a long time in Tennessee, and they came over here when I did, or followed me over here, and we've been around in Middle Tennessee for a long time. So
I know we're here to talk a lot about Lauren and her journey through Idol and where she is today, but just to break away from that just for a quick second, Sean Camp, singer, songwriter, why don't you tell us some of the songs that you've written and some of the stars that have picked up those songs?
well, I don't know. I mean, I moved to Nashville in January of '87 and went to work for as a fiddle player for the Osborne brothers, and who had Rocky Top. We played on the Grand Ole Opry and stuff, you know. And then I worked with Jerry Reed and Alan Jackson. I was Alan's first fiddler, and I worked with Susie Boggess and Shelby Lynn for a while.
Oh, wow.
Helped Trisha Yearwood put her first band together and played with her on the road, opening for Garth back in the day when she just started. And all the while writing songs, you know. So did a lot of co-writing and stuff, and ended up I wrote 2 Pina Coladas for Garth Brooks, a couple of girlfriends of mine, and had River of Love, George Strait, Would You Go With Me, John Scott Sherrill and I wrote for Josh Turner, and a song called Firecracker, which I wrote with Josh and Pat McLaughlin, and How Long Gone, Brooks and Dunn, and I've had a bunch of album cuts, but those were the top of the chart kind of songs, you know, so that made a lot of difference and allowed me to buy farms and stuff for a while. So Guy Clark, I became buddies with Guy and Verbal.
Oh, wow.
And I wrote a lot of stuff with Guy, and I produced Guy. I co-produced Guy Clark's last album that won his Grammy for him, and
very cool, man.
Chris Latham, and did a tribute compilation to Guy Clark, which had 33 artists that I produced on it, and everybody from Willie Nelson to I don't know, Lyle Lovett, and just a slew of folks that loved Guy Clark. And Guy was one of my best pals, you know.
Wow. Wow. That's, people don't realize, as we were talking before we turned the mics on, that it's people like you that write these songs, put these songs together. Then another artist comes in and picks them up. And that's what you hear on the radio is the final product. I don't think a lot of people realize the business behind that with people like you.
Well, you know,
That's the meat of it. That's what matters.
but you know, the machine of the music business is geared to make sure that the songwriter is not seen. I mean, and that is part of the occupation, is to be behind the scenes. But like, they could put it on television. They could put the songwriter awards shows on television, and would bring a lot of attention to who writes the songs. But the big machine of the whole deal, they don't want that to happen, because that's their racehorse. You know, they want everybody to think that artist is the guy that came up with that song. You know,
Right.
and that's his story or whatever.
Well, and in my completely unbiased opinion, he's my favorite singer in the world, and I love him. Hearing him sing his own songs.
She's the best I've ever heard. That's the truth. So
mutual admiration society here.
That's what puts all this together.
I've heard a lot of singers in this business since I've been here, and she's the best. You know, and so I think the world's just waiting to soak up her talent, you know, and get a good dose of her.
You see why I keep him around?
I told you to keep her.
Yeah, that's her new album. I don't know. Let me get this.
Oh man, he's a.
Yeah, I want y'all to see this.
He's got the merch out now.
That's her new album. It might be too glared.
We'll see. There you go.
Oh wow! Now that would be available on the website, right, Lauren? Can we go to a website?
I'm working on my website right now. I'm trying to figure out a way to set up my store.
Available.
Yeah, it's digitally available on iTunes, Amazon, all that stuff. But I'm in the process of working on my website now, so I have a store and a way to exchange in the best way possible. So don't have that quite set up yet. I do sell the physical copies at my shows.
It should be within a week or so, though. Yeah. You got somebody on board to try to straighten that out. So maybe soon.
We were saying that just last couple nights ago on the podcast, that we really like to have the actual CD or album in our hands. Whereas
I do too. It's tangible. It's like, you know, holding a record. You know. Yeah.
We watched a little bit of the Dean Miller interview.
Miller,
that's great. Dean and I, we used to be best friends. You know?
No way.
Yeah, and we started out. Actually, I met Dean at the Bluebird, sitting at the bar one night, you know, and I was just a kid, you know, just moved to Nashville, and we struck up a conversation, and I really didn't do a lot of. I'd only co-written a couple of songs at that point, you know, and for some reason he said, "Well, what do you do?" And I said, "Well, I'm a songwriter, I guess." And before the night was out, we were sitting on the tailgate of my truck, co-writing a song, and we wrote about 40, 50 songs together on that run, you know. So we were just we were close for a long time. So he's one of the best. But neat interview.
I interviewed him a bunch of years ago when he was on I forgot what label it was. It might have been Universal back in the day when I was on another radio station. He was on what they call the radio tour, and he came by, and then it was so great to catch up with him again just the other night when we had him on Skip Happens. So, and it's just a great guy, a producer, a singer, songwriter. He does many different things.
Yeah.
I don't believe everything.
Dog trainer.
It's like, what, Dean? What, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But we had a lot in common. He was in his man cave. I've got my man cave, and I call it my pod zone. But
actually, his dad. I was in Calgary, Canada, playing with Trisha Yearwood. We were opening for Garth Brooks, and I called Dean, and he said, "Well, you should call my dad. He's across town. They've got the night off." So I called Roger Miller, and he came over with his wife Mary and their two little kids, and we watched the Garth show, you know, together. And I was leaving Trisha's band at the time. I said, as soon as this tour's over, I'm out of this band. He said, well, come out on the road with me and join my band. And so I said, you're on. And so I was so pumped up and excited. And then he got sick and never went out with a band again, and I never got to tour with him.
Oh, man.
But I was that close to working with Roger Miller and his band.
What
he was
an
great
guy. Just the best. And I'm friends with Larry Gatlin, who was close with Roger, and just the stories that he tells about just his wit and his genius, his comical genius. It was just like, I just love hearing those stories, and he was, God broke the mold.
Small world though, when you think about it, you know.
Yeah.
Some of the when you first hopped on and you were saying how you were a hermit, I almost said, "Gee, that was like Dean the other night. He lives in his basement and this. He doesn't go anywhere." Find out.
Right.
Well, I don't know. It's just Nashville has gotten so crazy, and they've totally torn down so many historic buildings and built condos, and the traffic is the worst.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's almost like the Nashville that I moved here for is not existent anymore, you know. So I live out about 30 miles outside of town, and I end up staying out there, you know, unless I've got something I've got to do in Nashville. That's where I'm at. In the middle of the trees, you know.
Yeah. What used to take you 20 minutes to get from the airport to downtown now takes you an hour and 20 minutes. So,
I guess the whole country's that way. I don't know.
Yeah,
I must be exaggerating a little bit, but still.
Well, we're down there. Skip and I go down every year for CRS. Have you been at CRS at all?
Oh yeah, sure.
I'm sure you've had. I don't remember seeing Lauren there, but I thought, New Faces. One of these years she's going to be on the New Faces page for sure.
I've done the New Faces thing back in the early 90s. You know, I was on Warner Brothers in the 90s.
Oh wow. Okay.
Had a couple of singles out, and then got crossways and went to the woods. So,
but you know what? I mean, you're doing very well for yourself, and of course, you know, being with Lauren and you two, I think, make a great couple. I think the talent between just the two of you is phenomenal.
Oh, thank you. So
Very, very excited to be able to, you know, Deb got all this hooked up and be able to put you on the podcast and find out a little bit more about you and your music. I don't want to step on Deb's toes here. I don't know if she's got a question or not, but can you tell me a little bit about your American Idol journey from the get-go to, you know, right up to where I know you told us a little bit about what happened at the end, but
yeah.
how did you get to that point?
Well, I've been asked a lot about like the audition process and everything, and the way it happened, they have like scouts or producers is what they call them, and like if they see videos of people, like they do have the open call auditions where anybody can go, but then they also have like scouts that kind of, you know, look at videos online of people and just message them saying, hey, you know, I really think that you could do well in this, and encourage us to try out, you know, and so that's what happened with me, and at first I was like, oh, I don't know, is that something I'd even be good at, you know, and so Sean and my Nana were really encouraging of that, and they're just like, you know, you have nothing to lose, and you know, I was kind of at a place where we had this record, the record was done, and we were trying to figure out how to release it. I was trying to grow my fan base, but you know, they don't want you till they all want you, and it's just like it's a catch-22. Like how do you get something going in this town? And I was struggling to get my music heard, and so anyway, I was just like, well, I really don't have anything to lose, and I really would like to get something going here, and I've been at it for so long, and I'm 28 years old, and so I just wanted to take every opportunity that I could, and so Sean went with me to my audition, and we did a song that I wrote with a friend of mine, Renee Martin. It's called If I Can Lose You. And so we got the golden ticket to Hollywood, and so during Hollywood Week, I think there were 167 contestants that they whittled down to 40 in a matter of 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, wow.
And that was the absolute hardest experience I've ever done in my life, because we were running on so little sleep, and it was just, I mean, I was going at it full force because this is what I want to do with my life, you know, but man, it was hard. But something that I always really tried to remember, I mean, every single singer there was just incredible, and it was so easy to get intimidated by all of the vocal gymnastics that people were doing, and high notes and runs and all of this other stuff, And I think what really helped me keep my confidence level up was the fact that, my heart is really in traditional country. I love, everything about it, my heroes, and I really want to be one of the ones to kind of try to bring that back. And I kept trying to focus on what made me unique to the rest of the crowd, and tried to focus on that. And so the first song I did was "Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue" by Crystal Gale. Mm-hmm. And so I got past the first round, and the second round it was instead of group rounds they did a duet round. Now it was a different thing, and so I found a kid who did a Don Williams song for his round one. And so I'm like, okay, well, we probably know the same stuff, and we ended up doing Jackson for our duet. And, I made it past that round. And for the third round, it was a solo round, and you could either do a song with the band and pick from a list of like 60 songs that they had, or you could do a song that you wrote, but you had to accompany yourself. And so I didn't know any of the pop songs on the list or anything, so I'm just like, well, I really want to do an original song anyway. And so during sound check, I'm hearing all these people doing these big production numbers with this great band, and I get up there with my little guitar and I sing my song, and I'm just like, oh man, I don't know, did I make the right decision? And so I called my Nana from, like, they kept our family separate from us like the whole week. And
oh wow.
And so I called her from the holding room, and I'm crying. I'm just like, I don't know if I could do this, and I've gotten like 2 hours of sleep in the last week. And so anyway, after that meltdown, I went on.
That could actually happen to you when, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes.
Right, yeah. Well, I'm sure the lack of sleep played a huge part in that. But anyway, Nana's really good about, giving me pep talks and encouraging me, and Sean is too. And so I went up there and I played "God Made a Woman," and I dedicated it to my Nana, and it ended up being probably my proudest moment on the show.
I remember that like it was yesterday. Obviously, talk about it, and I remember you just blew everybody away when you did that.
Well, thank you.
Unbelievable.
Great song. She's incredible.
Yeah, I remember the standing ovation. I remember the judges all just like the look on their faces when you had the guts to do a song like, your own song.
That she wrote by herself. Right. I mean, there's no co-writer involved. She does this stuff.
When everybody,
that's strong.
Yes, exactly. And when everybody else is doing all these big numbers and all this, you did something that you wrote, you performed it. And I think, well, it's not that I think, I saw it. You just, even America, I think watching it on the television, watching it on my 75-inch TV, you blew everybody away with that. It's just like,
well,
wow.
Thank you.
I thought so too.
Get that.
Well, it was really emotional for me, like doing it and seeing Nana there in the audience. And, she's been my sidekick since, my baby years, and so she's my best friend and my superhero, and like, not only was it emotional, like being there and singing it, and then seeing her reaction and all the cameras and stuff, but then like a couple months later, whenever it aired on TV and they put together, such a beautiful tribute to her, and I just lost it. Like it probably, the thing that made the whole entire American Idol experience worth it for me was, I've never had any kind of a platform to tell the world just, what a superhero my Nana has been for me. And
you did
the fact that the entire country got to see her and fall in love with her, it made the whole entire thing worth it.
I was going to ask you if you actually saw that, and obviously you did, because they did a close-up shot on your Nana. You could see, the tears in her eyes, and just you could just feel the warmth and the love right through the television, and how proud she was of you at that moment. It just,
well, she's the best, and
Yeah.
So isn't it hard to be up on that stage in front of God knows how many people and not just like, how do you hold your composure? I often wonder that. You want to cry or you want to just, and you have to focus and concentrate.
I looked composed, but on the inside, like my heart, like I don't know, if my heart rate stayed up as fast as it was on that stage, I probably would have passed out at some point. But like my heart was just beating, and usually I don't get nervous, but just I don't know, the thought of being in front of my peers and being in front of Lionel Richie and Katy Perry and Luke Bryan and just the whole experience of it. I don't know. I usually don't get nervous, but pretty much every single performance that I did that week in my audition, I was super nervous. But I think just the high pressure scenario of it.
Right.
But I don't know. I feel like I really wasn't nervous during the Hawaii performance though, and I don't know. It was like kind of a really weird feeling. Like I kept waiting for that like sick like butterfly like I'm about to like pass out feeling, and I don't know, it just didn't come. And I don't know if it was because there was an actual crowd there that was there to have a good time and the energy was just so great, or I don't know. I really did feel like it was the Lord though, just kind of calming me down, and the peace that passes all understanding. And
Could have been exhaustion, though.
well,
You know,
we weren't exhausted. We had been spending 8 days just lounging around in Hawaii. So
Okay.
So big difference from when you were just saying that you guys were worked to the bone, going on very little sleep, and
right.
total
Well,
opposite.
that was Hollywood Week. Hollywood Week was not a walk in the park, but
I was so shocked to learn how cruel, really. I mean, it seemed to me
it's
that
a boot camp
everyone was
type.
treated. I mean, all those contestants were like
Well, it really though
just worn out. They just wore them ragged to see. I think if they could pull it off.
Well, honestly,
Right.
if you think about it, though, like, and the American Idol staff treated us really, I mean, everybody was so kind, and it was a very positive experience for me. But honestly, the thing that kept going through my mind was, how bad do I want this? People that do music for a living and are huge stars, they have to get up at 3, 4, or even earlier in the morning to be on like the Today Show and Good Morning America, and then go play a concert that night. And I'm like, if I want to do that, I have to push myself and I have to show them how bad I want it. And that's really, I mean, I just kept trying to think like, do I have what it takes to do this? And it was a mind game. It was a big mind game, but. Yeah.
And I would think that that gentleman that's sitting right to your right, Sean, having him there for support and somebody that's been on the big stage, somebody that's actually had singles on the radio, somebody that's been through all that. I think that's nothing but a plus to help you build that endurance, to help you stand strong and just keep saying, go, go. And when you have moments where you just feel like you want to say the hell with this, and when you have those moments, he's right there to say, okay, I just need you to take a deep breath. I need you to relax a little bit. All right, give me a hug. Everything's going to be fine.
I try,
Am I right?
Yeah, I think so, but I don't know.
Honestly,
I also know where all the potholes are in the music.
Yeah, exactly.
So I tell her to kind of do that.
Well, he's been through a lot, in his experiences with the music business.
Sure.
But honestly, like, I think the balance between both of us is that like he's very like energetic and passionate and intense all the time, and me, like, I'm super laid back. So usually the one that like is doing the calming down, I would think would be me.
You would think.
Like I'm
Opposite.
super like
That's okay.
Nana always says I have 2 speeds, slow and stop. And so like I'm chill. Like that was a very unusual experience with American Idol, but Sean is my biggest fan besides my Nana, and so he's always offering up encouragement, and there's no lack of that there. So
And how are you when let's say you go back home, after being an American Idol contestant, you made it to number 21 and all that. How is it when you go back home? You get treated as a celebrity. Everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, Lauren, that's Lauren." And
She
how?
hadn't been back yet, though.
No, you
Well,
haven't been back.
I at the
Because of
hospital I have,
Oh, yeah.
and I've
Okay,
had
okay.
some patients recognize me because they saw that I was like a nurse and everything, and so that's been fun. But actually, Nana is getting recognized more than me. And it's funny because like if I go out like to public places or whatever, like nobody really knows.
Yeah.
But if I'm with Nana and they look at her and then they look at me and they're like, "Oh, you're that girl." But I don't know. It's been fun, and the thing that I've really just been trying to do is to keep up the momentum of being on the show, and I want this more than anything, and I love music, and I can't imagine my life not doing it. So I'm always going to do it in some capacity, but I really want to take this time to focus on who I am as an artist, and keep trying to promote my album and get that heard.
So has American Idol opened up new doors for you, or do you find that you kind of go back to where you left off before that you went on Idol?
Yeah, I feel like it has opened a lot of doors, and especially I'm working with some really great people right now. I have a really great publicist with Richland Group, and they're finding a lot of opportunities for me as well. And I don't know. I released my first single to country radio, "God Made a Woman." The day after the elimination, we had that ready and had it going because we got such a great response from that song on the show. And I've never released a single to country radio before, and so we're trying to work on getting it up the Music Row charts, and I think it's number 87 right now, and it's been on for 5 weeks. So
It's not bad,
I'm hoping that it'll start climbing a little bit higher, but I'm really happy with that as my first single. So
Well, for only what you said, how many weeks? 8 weeks?
It's been out 5. I
5
think.
weeks.
5 weeks. All right, 5 weeks and you're number 87. And I look at the Music Row chart quite often. That's really good. That's
I
really
think I haven't seen it, but they said she's been hopping a lot of folks that kind of been gridlocked for a while. So that's encouraging to me. Think
and I'll see the chart again tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll have to take another look at it. So
Yeah, spread the word for us, man.
dude, I will definitely do that.
It will definitely help. Hey, looks and talent, I'm telling you, you're going to get
Well,
I think so.
thank you.
So I'm really surprised that you're still a registered nurse, right? So you've continued on that path right now?
Right. Well, I feel like, music is medicine, and nursing is medicine, and everything I do, I want it to be a ministry, and I don't know. I worked really hard for my degree, and I really want to keep that up. I mean, that's not something that, I want to lose. I mean, even if I mean, who knows, where my life is going to be in the next few years, but I'm really proud of being a nurse, and I want to make sure I keep that degree because I work.
Well, we're proud of you too for doing that. So.
We'll have to get you and Dr. Elvis. Isn't that the singing doctor from all the COVID?
Oh yeah. I did see that.
So we'll have to get you, the registered nurse, and Dr. Elvis out there together.
Yeah.
I think you can work on that.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun. We'll have to figure that one out.
Well, it was really neat because I work for an HCA facility out in Dixon. It's part of the TriStar Division hospitals down here in Middle Tennessee, and they did a virtual concert a couple weeks ago, and I was really blessed and honored to be on the roster with like Jewel and Brad Paisley and Shania Twain, and the one that I really geeked out about was Don McLean. But anyway, it was really neat because they asked me to be a part of this because of American Idol, but also the fact that I'm an HCA nurse, and they did this whole intro, I got to have a lot of my colleagues behind me and introduce, the hospital staff and then start talking about my single, and I got to play it. And so that was a huge blessing and honor, and it was really cool, like being able to combine my nursing world with my music world, and it was kind of a full circle moment. So,
like you say, music is medicine.
yeah, it is. It is.
And it makes the world go round.
It does.
Can you tell us a little bit about, I was either reading or I heard you are trying to influence the younger generation, I believe, with some of the roots of country music?
Yeah, I just love traditional and classic country music, and that's really what Sean and I really bonded over too. And I just feel like there's so many great songs, so many great songwriters, and it breaks my heart to think that some of the teenagers growing up now saying, "Oh yeah, I'm a country music fan," and some of them might not know who Chris Christopherson is or who Hank Cochran is, or I just really want to kind of educate a little bit and present these songs. I have a little series that I'm doing on my Instagram and Facebook pages. Every few days I'll post a video with the hashtag classic country covers, and I'll pick a song, and in the beginning I'll kind of introduce it, and if I know like a little tidbit about the songwriter or like the story of how the song was written, I'll talk about that before I play it. And so I don't know, it's just something that I find fun, and it's meaningful to me because those songs are just so moving, and I don't want people to forget how great that music is.
I think it's all going back in that. It's all going back. I think everything more or less like goes in a 20-year cycle. And now we're like on the backside of that. And what you're doing, your style and what you're trying to get across, I think that is slowly coming back right now. We're falling back into that, which we couldn't ask for any better at this point. So
I agree. And also it feels like with this the quarantine and the state of the country in a way, it seems like it's all boiling back down to the basics in a way. And musically, it just seems like it's more organic than it ever has been, or it's about to be. I think that the more organic music is going to make a bigger splash than it ever.
Totally agree.
Yeah,
totally
and we're
agree.
not able to like have huge concerts with like fire and cannons and lightning
Right.
and everything like that, and I don't know. I think that the rootsiness and organic feel of a lot of this is really cool. I mean, I really do miss being able to like meet people. I love, getting to see the reaction of an audience and kind of read people and connect, as far as the lyrics of a song goes. So that's something I really, really miss that so much right now. But I don't know. I think breaking it down is kind of helping a little bit.
I think so. I think so. And like Sean said, just taking it back to, the things that used to be, those things are coming back again. I mean, not only with music, but with a lot of different things. The drive-in theaters are coming back. There's all these things that we've gotten so far away from.
Life in general, and I think you're in a you're closer with your immediate family than you've ever been. I love that actually.
Absolutely couldn't. I was just talking about that on the air this afternoon, that normally I'm going every weekend doing my own thing, and my wife and my son are here at home, and I don't get to spend that time. And now all my weekends are pretty much at home.
Yeah, it's
We're
beautiful.
going to get ice cream. We got the bonfire going every night, or the fire pit. We're doing there's so many things we haven't done in so long.
Absolutely.
And I'm thinking, this is the way it's supposed to be.
Absolutely, it is.
And those memories are worth so much more than any amount of money,
Exactly.
Yeah, we needed to get. I want to say COVID's been a blessing I mean, definitely feel bad for people that did get sick or did pass from it, but coming back down to the family unit, we had mentioned a while back, we were talking, I mean, we see families in our neighborhood walking with their children.
Yeah.
And like Steve said, we've played games and we've watched movies and we've had the fire pit and we've spent time. We have 4 kids. We've been able to spend so much time. It's just been a huge blessing. It's like, hey, we know you, but now we really know you.
Yeah.
I know how much you really know.
Exactly.
Are you my kid?
Are you my
What's your
What
name
happened?
again?
God? You need to go clean that room up there. So
Exactly.
no, it's had its blessings in its own way.
Forced us to go back, but that's the good thing about it. It made us go back. It made us rethink things, rethink life, made us spend time with our families. Just everything that we've talked about right here, right now. It's made us do all that, which just
well, and this thing right now we're doing probably wouldn't even be happening if it hadn't been for that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
exactly. And a lot of people are like, I know we're getting away from the music just a little bit, but I know I've mentioned the new norm, and people get upset when I talk about the new norm. But you know what we're doing right here is going to be the new norm. And the way we're doing things again, even if it is some of the old stuff, that old stuff is now the new norm. And that's not going to change. I don't think it's going to change. So I don't have a problem with that, to be honest with you. But other people are like, no, it'll go back to the way it used to be. But I don't believe that. So
I don't either.
We're always learning for new things. That's all.
And I'm blessed that we're able to be doing this. I don't know what you want to call this live stream, I guess, with you guys, and
yes,
and I don't know, being in two completely different parts of the country and being able to do this, it's a pretty wild thing, and it's becoming normalized. So
what we love about it, this has been a great avenue for us to bring our audience up close and personal with our artists, because there's just really not an opportunity for them to get out, unless obviously if it's live, it's great, but they can't actually hear about you and hear about your career or hear about your life. And those are the things the audience wants to know. Right. So we've had this great opportunity to do that.
Well, I'll tell you too, there's no country music talk show like there used to be. TNN, and you watch Ralph Emery sit there and talk to the current artists, and there's really nothing like that anymore except what we're doing. And this is I love it. I appreciate you for doing this. Really,
nice. We appreciate you.
So, hey, we'd love to hear a song or two. If you have a little story and a song you'd love to share with us.
Yeah.
What? I don't know. What?
Do one of yours for sure.
Just so happens we have the guitar behind the chair.
Where's he going?
I just, just hanging out.
I love it.
What you want to do?
I don't know. Let's you want to do we wrote together?
Whatever you want to do.
You're a keeper.
I want to show you my town.
If you'd like, whatever you want. Yeah, fine.
Okay. Sean and I wrote this song not long after we started dating. I was talking about my hometown, and he was talking about his hometown, and so I made the statement, I want to show you my town, and Sean said, write that down, we got to write that. So we rode around in his pickup and ended up with a song at the end of our drive. So ready? I want to show you my town. I want to drive you around. Take a little old cruise with the windows down. It's a part of me I want you to see, 'cause you're a part of me now. I want to show you my town. I want to show you my town. Answer questions you ask. It's time for my future to catch up with my past. See that little white house with the picket fence? That's where the best days of my childhood went. I gotta say. That little church on Main, oh, and some sweet day, that's where I'll take your name. I wanna show you my town. It's a small, small town. Oh, and just like you, it's my solid ground. It's a part of me I want you to see, 'cause you're a part of me now. I wanna show you my town. See those old men sitting in the courthouse square. They're all whittling in their rocking chairs. If old Rockwell had painted this scene, it'd look a lot like an American dream. I wanna show you my town. It's a small, small town. Oh, and just like you, it's my solid ground. It's a part of me I want you to see, 'cause you're a part of me now. I wanna show you my town, 'cause you're a part of me now. I wanna show you my town.
Wow.
Oh my God, I loved it.
Thank you.
Oh, I have goosebumps.
That's one on my new record. So.
Oh, that's
Absolutely.
beautiful.
Thank you so much.
One of the things we do here in Syracuse is we bring a taste of Nashville community, and we'll bring artists in from Nashville, and it's just usually the artist and their guitar, and you get this feeling of being around that song and being in that environment and being around the artist, and it's just such a pleasant feeling. And now I can't wait to have you guys up here because
That'd be awesome.
totally there. That was beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So
absolutely love it.
that was great. So that's on the new album, you said?
It is. It's on the new album, and the album is titled "God Made a Woman," and that song was called "I Want to Show You My Town." And
hold it up for him one more
all
time.
right,
Yes,
absolutely.
There,
Definitely
there
getting
you go.
I love it.
How long did it take you to write that song? You told her, write down that sentence. We're writing a song.
Just a couple hours, maybe.
Oh,
we had it.
Blow your mind. They could just write a song.
Yeah, it's I don't remember. I don't remember much of anything. It's always a blur for me. I get in a zone, and time don't mean much to me, you know. So.
It amazes me how you could just think of a sentence and then there's a song birthed from it.
You build around it.
Build around it.
There's all kinds of ways to write songs, you know. So you start and just like building a house, you don't have a particular place you've got to start. So sometimes you just got to get up in the middle of it to figure it out, you know.
Oh, I loved it. Think we have time for one more? No? Yes?
You want to do it?
Skip?
You know, maybe
Yes, no, it's
God
up to
made
you.
one or something. You want to do
You
that?
can do it. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, do something. Is that there? Is that what you did? Really?
Same key.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Sorry. We can do something else. Whatever you want.
No, we can. This is my single, so.
All right.
Okay. All right. Here's "God Made a Woman." God made a woman. God made a woman to hold the hand of the sick and the young and the broken man, to fall in love and fill the land with beating hearts of fire. What you gonna do when the night gets cold and you need somebody to feed your soul? He said it ain't no good for a man to be alone, so God made a woman. We're the mothers, the daughters, sinners and saints, able to stable and a little insane. But honey, you can't get us out of your brain, 'cause God made a woman. We're the keeper of the child that cries. We're the singers of the lullabies. We'll take your lonely and make a life. 'Cause God made a woman. God made a woman to hold the hand of the sick and the young and the broken, to fall in love and fill the land with beating hearts of fire. What you gonna do when the night gets cold and you need somebody to feed your soul? He said it ain't no good for a man to be alone, so God made a woman. He said it ain't no good for a man to be alone, so God made a woman.
Beautiful.
God made a woman. Gotta love it. I'm not
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thank you. Oh, well,
That's
thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you so
Gosh.
much.
Well, I could sit here and listen to you both all night, but
Oh, thank you.
no, we can't do that. But you sound fantastic.
Thank you
You
so
guys are
much.
awesome. And we're getting close to almost an hour, so we're not gonna hold you up too much longer.
Oh, you're good.
I can't believe it's already time. It's
I
gone
know.
by very quickly.
Well, thank you so much for having us. And again, you know, my new record is out called God Made a Woman, and Sean produced it. But you know, Sean's got incredible records, you know, already on iTunes, Amazon, all that good stuff. And so
Yeah, if you're looking for me though, if my face isn't on the record, it's not
It's
me.
not
There's
you.
another guy out there
yeah,
We'll look
that's
for your
not me named Sean Camp.
look for
That's
this face.
Okay.
my face. These eyes aren't on the record. Don't. I mean, it's not me. You can
Right.
get them if you want, but it's not me.
The Country Music Fan Club will make sure that you're know that.
All
Well,
right.
thank you so much.
So, finding your music, is everything on your website to get your?
Yeah, all the links are on my website. I'm working on a website redesign right now, and so but I do have a website right now, and it's got the links to everything on it. But there's coming soon to be merch and everything like that, and we're working on getting that up. So.
And really quick, have you put together any signs of a tour schedule or some places?
Not really right now, just because everything's kind of fuzzy.
Things are still being canceled on my schedule
Yeah.
for
Really?
like September and October. You know, so I mean, it's out of ways.
I was actually I'm Italian by heritage, if you can't tell from the name Mascitti.
Yeah.
But there's a festival in New York that I play at every year in Tappan. And it's called the Blauvelt. It's in Rockland County. Blauvelt Sons of Italy Italian Feast.
Yep.
And I was supposed to do that this year, and it's still to be announced if that's happening or not. So
What month is that in?
it's in September.
September.
So fingers crossed.
Fingers
Yeah.
crossed. Yes. Well, definitely we'll try to catch you when you're in this area. If not, I'm in Nashville all the time. I'm going actually down there next weekend, but
Awesome.
we'll have to keep tabs and see if we can catch a show wherever you guys may be.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
So, Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thanks for letting me hang out with you too.
Oh,
Absolutely. I mean, I can remember a lot of your music from a while ago, and of course, I've been doing radio for a long time, so it's just I've been I've been doing radio. I started actually in the middle '70s, so
Wow.
spring chicken.
That's great, man. That was when it was good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it really was.
you know, working country radio and up through the '90s through the Garth when Garth kicked everything off in the early '90s, and then of course with the Alan Jacksons and the Brooks and Dunns and every
Yeah.
song and every song that you mentioned, I know it very well.
Oh wow.
And now the name it all comes back to me, and which is
Yeah.
really cool.
I had a single out called "Fallen Never Felt So Good" on Warner Brothers, and had a video out on it.
Yeah.
So it got to like 30, and then the day my record died, all of the ads went to Faith Hill's debut single. All of those stations moved right up. They traded all my ads for Faith's initial single. So that's part of the
That's what they
business.
do. That's what they do. It happens nowadays too.
Yeah.
I take calls from the labels, and on all my reps, they'll say, "Oh, we're dropping this one, but can
Yeah.
you replace it with this one?"
Yeah,
So-
and I'm not knocking Faith Hill. I love her.
No,
She's
no,
great
no.
talent and amazing. But that's just what happened. I could see it because I was looking at the chart every day, and it was my record. So.
Totally. Well, you said you played fiddle with Alan Jackson,
I did, yeah.
and then there was there a Mark? I'm trying to think who took over.
Oh, Mark, came in after me. Yeah.
Mark did, yes, and he was on a radio tour with another new and up and coming artist, and that's how we actually became friends. And
Oh wow.
and that was it's been a long time, obviously, but I remember his name was Mark, and we used to keep in touch, and now it's been
I've actually never met Mark, so I don't know Mark, but I know that he got my job after I left.
I have no idea how that works on your end. So I'm saying that
I'm glad he got it. I'll just tell you that.
I don't know, but quickly though, because you've been on tour with so many big artists doing your thing, what's it like to be on tour as traveling with an artist? Can you just real quick? I know I don't want to take up much.
You mean as a sideman or as a front man?
Well, you played. Well, that's right. I guess
He's done both.
Yeah, I know. All right, so
Yeah.
you go out on tour. How enduring is that? I mean, what's it like?
You do it with the Earls of
Yeah,
Leicester too.
I'm in a band called the Earls of Leicester. We do all with
Okay.
Jerry Douglas and a bunch of guys. We do
Oh,
a
my
bunch
God.
of bluegrass.
Yeah.
We do all Flat and Scruggs music, and we've toured quite a bit. But I mean, it's
Let's
pretty
not-
nice actually. If you've got a bus and it's all of the machinery is working, like it should. It's a wonderful life, except you're away from your family. But it's I was on the road for about 12 years every few days, and then when I got off of Warner Brothers, it was like I felt like I was still moving for like a couple of years, just like after like
it's like if you get off a cruise ship.
it's you get your sea legs and you think that's life, but when you get off the bus, it feels like you're just you're still like you've been swimming all day or something. It's like there's a wavy kind of vibe going on for months after that. It wears you down.
Yeah,
Like a truck driver, I guess.
Right, I guess.
My papa's a truck driver.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
The buses, they travel all night, so you sleep in the bunks. Do you sleep really good in those bunks? We see them; they're so small, but I've heard
sometimes if you do it with any regularity, you get used to it, and you can sleep. Or generally, most people do, but you really don't sleep because you're trying to stay balanced all night long in your sleep. So you're using muscles all night long and you don't realize you're using them. So after a weekend, it takes a couple of days to feel like you're alive again after you come off the road, after working 5 or 6 nights or something.
Right.
So it's a weird thing. I don't know.
I have yet to experience it, and that's something I was looking forward to post American Idol, and now here we are stuck at home. But I'm hoping, I would like to experience that. To me it's exciting, because I've never done it, and I want to play music, and I want to travel and meet new people, I think it'd be a lot of fun. But.
It is fun, but I will say this: America's a beautiful country, and I love to see the different sceneries around from one side to the other. But it's gotten to where every place is the same, and we're all on these interstates, and they've all got a McDonald's, and they've all got the same exact thing. When you get off the bus, all right, where's this? All right, there it is. That's this. And this is the same place.
And my papaw's a long distance truck driver, and he says the same thing about being on the road. You know, he got into it because he wanted to travel, and you know, all you see all day long is exits. You know.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't get to take advantage when, like, if you're on the road and you're doing a show, you really don't have the time to get out, maybe and do a hike or see a mountain or go sightseeing. So that's where it becomes all the same. Same with being the truck driver. You're not having that opportunity to explore. So, but
it's an interesting life.
it is.
You know, working a lot of these shows and seeing the artist and meeting the artist, and half the time they don't know what city they're in.
Yeah.
They really never know. It's just, you know, somebody has to tell them right then, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
if they act like they know, they just figured that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or they look at the tour schedule. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
We're in Syracuse. Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Hey guys, you know, this has been awesome tonight.
Thank you for having us.
We've had a great time with you.
Come visit us in Syracuse sometime.
Yes,
Absolutely.
please. Absolutely.
Find that out.
And of course, Lauren Mascitti, season 18 American Idol. And there she is, everybody. And yeah, we remember that moment, the 20 and the 21, like throwing it back to America. But, you know, it was all right, though. And you got the, you know, you're a star. You got that. You guys, you know, just being in that group. That's phenomenal. And making it to the stage in Hawaii.
It was a blast, and I know a couple of friends of ours, Terry and Wanda C. They have a venue out here in Franklin, Tennessee, a house concert venue. And Terry commented on something one day, and he's just like, "Well, number 21 is number 1 in blackjack."
Oh, there you go.
Hey, yes.
So shout out to Terry. Thank you.
And John, it's a pleasure talking to you, and you know, finding a little bit more out about you and your history. It's phenomenal, my friend. And both of you as a couple, I mean, there you go. You're opposites, but you're alike.
Yes.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate you, Skip. Dad, appreciate
you
it.
too, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope to see y'all soon in person.
Yeah, for sure.
We will work on it for sure.
Yes, we'll definitely keep in touch. And I know, like, Deb's going to be in Nashville next week, but I'm out there on occasion as well. And sometimes, or if you're in this area, or we know you're performing somewhere, we'll definitely make the trip. We'll jump in the truck.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
All right, guys, you are awesome. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Sean. God bless you both.
Thank you. God bless you too.
And stay healthy.
It's been a pleasure.
Have a good night, everybody.
You too. Have a good night. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining.